Thanks for joining us on Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged, where the message is always truthful, authentic, and inspiring. For more information on Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged, visit BobbyeandTonilee.com. Now your hosts, Bobbye and Tonilee.
Hello, welcome to Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged. My name is Bobbye Brooks.
And I'm Tonilee Adamson.
Thanks for joining us. If you're brand new to the program, thanks for listening. If you're listening on the radio, wherever you may be, formerly known as Daily Disciples Radio, we are still Bobbye and Tonilee. Just kind of doing a new format, which we're really excited about because not only can you listen, you can also watch. We want you to go home. When you get a chance, you can go to Bobbye and Tonilee on our YouTube channel, Bobbye and Tonilee's channel. I don't know how much you're on YouTube right now, so if you want to go to dailydisciples.org, just click through the banner that says Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged, and it'll take you right to the channel. The best thing to do when you get there is to subscribe. That way it will come to you every single episode. And I don't know, I just think it's a lot more fun to watch even after you listen to a show. We get requests all the time. Can I hear that show again? Where can I find the other programs? It's fun to watch them. So that being said, always feel free. If you have any questions, just call us at 800-992-0369. Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged is where we unplug from kind of the mainstream Christian culture. We're Christians. This is a Christian format. And we're going to talk about Christian topics. But these are not necessarily topics that you may not hear. You may not hear these in church on Sunday morning or in your small groups, but they're topics that we're all thinking about. So, and TL, before we get started, let's announce again about our 11th Annual Women's Conference.
Right. The Power of Hope is coming to Point Loma Nazarene University on Saturday, January 30th. That is 2016. Can you believe it?
11th Annual.
And it is our 11th Annual, and we're so excited to have all you gals come out. This is an outreach, so be sure you're praying about who to invite. If you have a church group, we have special discounted prices. Right now, the ticket price is $25, which includes lunch and an entire day. Doors open at 8. We get started right at 9. We have worship. We have speaking. The day is developed to motivate, encourage, and inspire you to walk forward in your gifts, your callings for the Lord. So we want to see you there. And also, Kimberly Hunt, our local news anchor right here in San Diego, she is trying her hardest. She is texting me frequently to get on the schedule. So we're hoping that she's going to be there. But we will have a panel there of women who have endured. So haven't you wondered sometimes, how come I couldn't ever complete that task? Or how come I couldn't ever walk through with that? Well, we want to talk to women who somehow figured out how to claim it. I don't want to say name it and claim it, but somehow figured out how to endure.
It's perseverance.
Yes.
And also on Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged, as you watch the show and as you come to the events, you're going to get to meet a lot of different people. And what that does is it encourages you. And that's what it's all about, is encouraging each other. One of the things we're going to talk about today is I think one of the biggest prayers every Christian has is a prayer for someone in their life to come to know the Lord. Wouldn't you say, CL?
Well, yesterday we spoke on evangelism, and I had the gift, which I didn't realize was a gift until I probably was in my 20s or 30s. But Bobbye said she doesn't have the gift, and she doesn't. And yet, she continually prayed for her father to come to know Christ.
Yes.
And that counts too. Does it count as evangelism? No, it doesn't, because you're not verbally witnessing.
But my dad was so
prayers count. God loves our prayers.
Right.
And that is the desire of his heart too, to seek and save the lost. So Bobbye, I want you to share about your dad and the story that you have.
I do. You know, if you hear my testimony on stage, I talk about being raised in a volatile, abusive home. And that was because of my father. He hated everything to do with God and church And my mother took my sister and myself to church from the moment I was a baby. I was raised Southern Baptist, born and raised in West Tennessee. That's Baptist territory. But came to know the Lord when I was 9 years old. But my father was so volatile, abusive, angry.
He didn't like Christians either.
He hated Christians.
Yes.
And hated everything about church, especially church. I mean, there was something about, I think he just sensed the hypocrisy so greatly in church, because he would see these people out on Saturday night, and then because they went to church on Sunday, somehow they were better than him. Now, I know there's people who feel that way today. So,
Well, being raised Catholic, that's what we did, and we had no problem with it.
It was fine.
Yeah.
You just go to confession, and hey, you know.
And there was no conviction about drinking, nothing.
Well, my dad, you know, interestingly enough, my father did not drink. He was not someone who was a big drinker or an alcoholic or anything like that. He was just sick.
Well, he was mean, too.
And he was. He was mean, he was abrasive, he was abusive. But as a child, I remember every night praying for, my prayer was for my daddy to come to know the Lord. Daddy, be saved. I'd say, dear Lord, please save my daddy. That was my prayer every single night. I couldn't talk to my dad about God because I was afraid he would beat me to death. You know, I mean, he was that kind of person. But every night, as a child, that was all I knew to pray.
I want to say something, Bobbye. You were raised in an abusive environment, and yet you are so kind and so giving. And it just is a testimony to what God does in a life. And I'm saying that because I've known you, too, for 15 years. And you really are just a kind person. And it's amazing that it does not matter the environment you were raised in. We have a choice of how we want to live.
It's true. When we come back from the break, I'm going to talk about what happened with my dad. This is an amazing, miraculous story that is going to give you hope and encouragement beyond anything you can imagine. You do not want to miss the rest of the story. We got to take a quick break here on Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged, but don't go away. We'll be right back. Hi, my name is Bobbye Brooks.
And I'm Tonilee Adamson.
We're the co-founders of Daily Disciples Ministries, and we are hosting our 11th annual Women's Conference on
Saturday, January 30th, and it is the Power of Hope. And it's going to be held again at Point Loma Nazarene University, and we want to see you ladies there.
That's right. Tickets right now, they're on sale, and they are going fast. They're only $25, and that includes lunch and parking. You can get them at dailydisciples.org, or you can call
800-992-0369.
Ladies, listen, we know that 2016 is going to be a very significant year. We need hope that only comes from the Lord. So Get your tickets today. Call 800-992-0369 or go to
dailydisciples.org.
and we will see you there.
Hi, I'm Jane Brink. I'm the owner and co-inventor of the OHO, the world's most innovative home sanitizer. Get yours today at theoho.com.
Hi, my name is Emily Adamson of Media for Women Enterprises. Media for Women is a full-service media marketing agency. We do everything from web design, videography, social media, and more. The technology we have today is not going away, and you need to get your business online. Set up your free consultation today at mediaforwomen.com or call the number on your screen, 1-800-992-0369.
Welcome back to Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged. My name is Bobbye Brooks.
And I'm Tonilee Adamson.
Thanks for joining us. Always, we are so appreciative to our listeners. Thanks for listening wherever you may be. Bobbye and Tonilee, formerly known as Daily Disciples Radio. You can always visit us online at dailydisciples.org. There's daily devotions, Bible studies. Keep up with us with all of our events. And most of all, now you can click through Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged. This is the new radio format. And nothing has changed except that you get to watch us. So if you click through that, you can watch our YouTube channel now. And we want you to subscribe. It's free, and you'll be able to actually on demand go and watch all of our shows.
Yes.
And it's, I don't know, I think it's a little bit more fun to watch the action, not just listen to it. So if you're listening to it in the car, go home, make a note, even on your phone.
Well, I think what's good too, as we traveled the country last year, the last 2 years on national tour doing the power of friendship and then the power of love, women would ask us, how can we listen to you on the radio? Well, we're not on every radio station.
That's right.
So we really did pray about how can we stay in touch with people, with women across the nation. And this is the format that the Lord really did allow us. Like we have a big green screen room now, and we're very thankful for Media for Women, who is our primary sponsor of this show, because it allows us to be updated. Up on technology, yes.
And we have to give credit behind the camera, Eddie rocks. We
love Eddie.
And he is, we want you to meet Eddie. And
we'll just give you a little plug right now. We're here to help you. Remember that Media for Women was born out of Daily Disciples. And Bobbye and Tonilee, we are here today by the grace of God. And we know that God's put a calling on your heart and your life. And you're probably wondering, how do I go forward? Media for Women is here to help you do that. So I like to describe it like this. Daily Disciples is the message that God has given you, a gift and a calling. Media for Women is the means of how to walk that out.
That's right.
All right. So we know our prices are ministry based on the Media for Women side. We call ourselves tent makers, like Paul, because it really does offset the cost of the ministry.
That's right.
So if you want to call us, if you want a free consult, if you even have any questions, you can go to media, the number 4, it's right there on the screen, women.com.
Okay, back to today's show and what we're talking about. As I said before the break, that we're talking about my father, and not just my dad, but maybe you're praying for someone in your family. Maybe it's a parent or a sibling or a child, and you know they need to come to know the Lord. And believe me, as we've traveled the country, we have met many, many mothers and grandmothers who are praying that prayer for their children and their grandchildren, not to mention their husbands. So when I was young and my father was just so not at all a Christian, my prayer every night was, Daddy,
Lord, save my daddy.
Mm-hmm. And so the miraculous part of this story is I grew up, left home, went to college, moved to Nashville, and my dad and I really, our relationship drifted apart. As is common. We did not have a lot in common because he was not close to me after I grew up, and I was not close to him. He was still the angry, abusive, controlling father, and I was not living there. I didn't want any part of it. I really wanted to get away. That's a very common component of being raised in an abusive household.
So when you left for Nashville from that small little West Tennessee city, if you even call it a city, did you keep praying for your father? Or were these just childhood prayers in that house?
I never gave up praying for my dad. Although I would say, I don't know if it was every night, but I never gave up the prayer for my father at all.
Well, the Lord hears the first prayer you pray.
That's right.
So you don't have to get to the point that you're repetitious in your prayers anyway. But I just want to know, is when you pull away, does your heart pull away too?
No, I was still praying for him.
Okay.
So let me tell you what happened. September of 1990, I called home one night. I was living in Nashville, and just so happened my dad answered the phone. My dad never answered the phone, ever. But for some reason, my dad picked up the phone. And we had a brief conversation, and the last thing I said to him was, I love you. And he said, I love you. I could probably count on both hands the times my dad said, I love you in my entire life. So my mom gets on the phone later, or maybe it was a separate conversation not long after that, and my mom says to me, you won't believe what happened to your dad. And I said, what? And she said, we were watching Billy Graham on television. Now, this is kind of funny, but as I was growing up, my dad would watch Billy Graham. I think back and wonder why he would watch Billy Graham. And this was back when Billy was doing the crusades and they were televised. But I think it's because he didn't think Billy Graham ever went to church. I don't think he associated Billy Graham with this religious kind of group. But he would watch Billy Graham and had for years. One night during this period of time, not long after I talked to him or right before I spoke to him on the phone, he turned to my mother after watching the show and said, "I just prayed that prayer. I just prayed that prayer." My mom goes, you just prayed that prayer for Jesus to come into your heart and save you? And he said, yes. And being the good Baptist, my mom's like, well, you got to go to church. You need to walk up in front of the pastor. You need to profess it, right? You need to profess it publicly. You've accepted Jesus. And in other words, you need to tell somebody. And my dad said, well, I'm telling you. Is that enough for now? And, God gave my mom the wisdom at that moment to say, yes, that's enough for now. We'll start there. And I remember when my mom said this to me, I was so happy. Of course. Oh, my goodness, my dad came to accept Jesus. Well, 3 months later, on December 16th, 1990, my dad died of a heart attack. 3 months later, my dad died. There was no discussion. There was no hospital. He literally got out of the truck and fell to the ground. And when we say drop dead of a heart attack, this was a drop dead of a heart attack situation. They said that it looked like his heart exploded. And ironically, he had just been to the doctor 7 days earlier, or 6 days before. This was on a Sunday that he died.
He must have known he was having heart issues, though.
I think he knew for a long time, but the doctors...
Because you do have warning signs.
Right. But at any rate, now I am faced with this thought. Is my dad in heaven? So, you start wondering at this moment. We hear the stories, we read the Bible, we know that if your last breath you ask Jesus to save you, are you really saved? Is this all it takes? Mm-hmm. TL, is it true that you can just pray that prayer? Well, I'm going to tell you how God confirmed this to me after the break. This is an absolute story of miraculous. I'm going to tell you everything that happened because it is something I could never make up. You do not want to miss this. We've got to take a quick break here on Bobbye Tonilee Unplugged. When I come back, I'm going to tell you the rest of the story of how my dad came to know the Lord and how God confirmed it to me. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Bobbye and Tonilee right here at Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged, and we will be right back after this short break. Hi, my name is Bobbye Brooks.
And I'm Tonilee Adamson.
And we're the founders of Media for Women Enterprises. And we're here to announce a very special package. And this is a package that is really a turnkey business in a box.
We are a one-stop shop, which means the business in a box includes a website, social media, tabs on your website, and training. We will also do a couple of months of your social media to train you how to do it yourself. We do SEO, we do video production, which is so needed not only for your website, but for YouTube. So we want you to call us about the business in a box promotion right now.
Let me explain that one more time, okay? So business in a box, you can spend thousands of dollars just on a website. So in this package, you get a brand new website up to 10 pages. It includes a fully professionally produced video that is perfect to go on your website as well as a commercial to promote your website, service, or product. Social media, we're going to put in at least 5 of the top social media for you. And we're going to SEO all of it, search engine optimize all of it. And included, as if that's not enough, we're going to give you 1 free month's marketing launch. So thousands of dollars in this package. Special price just for you for a limited time is $49.95. That's $4,995 for our business in a box that literally could be done within 60 to 90 days from start to finish.
So you can call us at 800-992-0369 and check out our website at media4, it's the number 4, UnPlugged-Women.com. And please know, 50% of our clients are men.
That's right. This is not just for women, and you need to get a free consultation. We'll give you a free consult to talk about this option. 800-992-0369 and join us online, mediaforwomen.com. So thanks for listening for a few moments of your time, and definitely make sure your business is set for what is coming with this new technology.
Yes.
We want to help you grow, and we always hope to
See you soon.
You're probably already aware that your bathroom contains millions of germs and bacteria. Now, there's a revolutionary new weapon to fight the war on germs.
The OHO, the world's most innovative in-home sanitizing unit. The OHO uses UV germicidal light and easily stores, organizes, and sanitizes anything that you can place inside.
Buy your OHO now at the special offer of $89.99 with free delivery. Visit theoho.com. At checkout, type in promo code OHO for less.
Hello and welcome back to Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged. We are presently in the middle of a testimonial, I would have to say, of Bobbye and praying for her father for years and years and years. And we heard that just 3 months before he literally dropped dead, as Bobbye would say, from a heart attack, he accepted Jesus into his heart from a Billy Graham television show. But Bobbye still had questions. Is that all it takes? Is that all it is? Like, you can literally pray this right before you die and it counts? And she was not sure if he really did have salvation. Did God really answer her prayers as a small child that he would come to know Jesus? So Bobbye, tell us the rest of the story.
Okay, here's what happened. For 2 years, I had this burning question, and one day I was on an airplane, of all places, American Airlines. We stop in Dallas. I get on the plane. I pull out the American Way magazine, and out falls this Baptist church, of all things, a Baptist church bulletin in the front seat pocket. And as I'm looking through the bulletin, just not even thinking about anything, I turn over to the back page, and it's John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in me should not perish but have everlasting life. And it had a little blurb that said, anyone who prays this prayer and believes in Jesus has everlasting life and is with Jesus forever. At that moment, the Holy Spirit of God came in and just warmed my heart and said to me, and the same is true for your daddy. So I know my dad is in heaven because of that.
Isn't the grace of God so good? I mean, when you think about it too, we also know, I know more of your story, and part of it was your dad did go see the pastor and just have some conversation with him after he accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior, but how good God would be to the living, who are on earth, to confirm to you that that's all it takes. You
That's
just
right.
have to pray that prayer, and that's enough, because we come to Christ because of his work of righteousness, not because of ours. And what we miss out on when we do have that deathbed salvation, which as a nurse in ICU, and even I worked in convalescent homes, many people came to know Christ on their deathbed with me. They've missed out on a whole life of walking their faith out on earth. I mean, once we are before the Lord face to face, there is no more faith, right? We only can get those rewards here on earth. And so you miss out, but you still make it, like Paul says in 1 Corinthians 3, as through fire for eternal life. So we're so thankful for that. And Bobbye, I really appreciate your story. And even after all these years.
It chokes me up.
Yes.
Yeah, it definitely chokes me up. The pastor said that very thing. He missed the blessings, but he is with Jesus. So don't ever give up on praying. And we want to give you an opportunity to bring that person. If you have someone that you're praying for, visit us at our Power of Hope. This is an opportunity for you to invite someone to our Power of Hope Women's Conference, Saturday, January 30th in San Diego. Tickets are only $25. They're on sale right now. You can go to dailydisciples.org, or you can call 800-992-0369. Trust me, God is hearing your prayers. This could be the one opportunity for you to actually bring that person to the Lord to accept Jesus.
So we are just an email away. You can go to dailydisciples.org, BobbyeandTonilee.com, or mediaforwomen.com, and we would love to talk to you, pray with you. We're just an email away. So be sure to ask us those questions that you are wondering in your heart.
And don't forget Bobbye Tonilee Unplugged on the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
So thanks for listening for the show today. We'll be back same time tomorrow, same station, and always on YouTube, Bobbye Tonilee's channel on demand. Until then, God bless. Have a great day, and we will see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in to Bobbye and Tonilee Unplugged. Tune in every day on air and online. For more real life, real answers from Bobbye and Tonilee. Subscribe to the Bobbye and Tonilee channel, and for more information, visit BobbyeandTonilee.com.